Hello, everyone, and welcome again to Motivational Moments with Tracy D. Armstrong. Today, we are still talking about what's your mess mentally, emotionally, and socially, and how does that affect your status of life? Today, we will have the queen, spontaneous queen, Arshia, and she will be letting you know what one of her messes was in her life and what she did to clean it up. Hello, say hello to everyone.
Hello, beautiful people. How you guys doing today?
All right, so Miss Arshia, could you go ahead and tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yes, my name is Arshia Adijian, aka Spontaneous Queen. I empower women. I love empowering women and helping them grow, develop them personally, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. But I am known for helping the queen increase in their values and increase their income level. So that's what I'm known for, and that's who I am.
Okay, that is awesome. I'm sure plenty of people would like to increase their income and be the queen that's within them. So I know that life hasn't always been that great. Okay. So let's dig a little bit into what is one of the messes, as I could say, that you've gone through in your life.
Mm, I had many misses. I remember growing up, my childhood wasn't so good. I was in an environment where I couldn't freely talk. On the outside looking in, I was a happy-go-lucky kid. My self-esteem, my confidence was through the roof. But internally, I was suffering and I was dealing with a mental and a verbal. Now, when I was a smaller, it was a sexual abuse. And I remember it happening at 3 and 4. At those stages, some people don't remember, but I remember. And then we moving all the way from elementary to high school, I kind of put it out of my mind and just being a kid. But getting out of high school and then realizing that thing that happened was supposed to happen. And that's when life started kicking in for me. Um, then that's when I start going in internally and beating myself up because that thing that happened, you know, I was unable to unpack the things that was happening in my life. And a big part of me unraveling that mess and getting out of that mess, I linked on God and his principles and his words. And without him at that time, like I worked in a mental health hospital, I told them I can easily be in their shoes because of the things that I endured as a child. No one should have to experience that, but I'm happy that I did experience it because it was a part of my story, a part of my mess that I had to clean up because a lot of people don't want to go through things. And for me, I had the spirit of, I was always looking forward to being optimistic. No matter what happened in my life and what came my way, my mindset at that time that got me forward in life was always being optimistic. So that was one of the messes that I had to clean up. Then once you go through those stages in life, you can't completely go through the development stage. There's no way that you can complete all those stages and not be stuck in one stage. So me going to college, like I said, me going to college and me experiencing life was my savior. It allowed me to create my foundation or the things that wasn't serving me, the things that I wanted in my life, while I was still figuring out some things. So sometimes people look at it as, okay, this person got it together because they're at this age or they at that age, but it's some people that still iron out their messes. And whenever you decide to embrace that mess and say, okay, this served me and it no longer serve me anymore, that's when you're able to push past those things. So a lot of my messes come from the early childhood with the abuse, and then carrying that stuff into my adulthood because I didn't know how to go through it and weed those things out until I had to learn and experience it the hard way. And then some of my mess carried on into my relationships and my relationships with my friends or my relationships with my partners until I decided, hey, I'm meeting different people, but I'm getting most of the same stuff. Then that's when I had to go and stick the finger at me. And then I had to discover my self-worth, myself, who I am. I had to get to know me again. You understand? Sometimes we take this stuff from our high school days and who we are and what people think we are. But when you grow up, you're like, okay, I don't live that lifestyle no more. Or that's not who I want to portray myself to be. And so that's most of my messages came from with the early childhood all the way to the relationships. That's how I identify my messes.
Okay, wow. And I'm sure that there's plenty of people out there that can identify with some of those same messes. And I know there's some people who still haven't recognized and embraced those messes to be able to even overcome that trauma, especially from childhood. Some people are still carrying that
Mm-hmm.
mess with them throughout today. So you kind of touched on it. So I know you explained how it affected you mentally and
Mm-hmm.
emotionally and a little bit about socially. Could you go a little bit more into, like you said, how it affected relationships and friendships, your social life, and how did it affect your status of living?
Okay. So me experiencing that trauma, that was a traumatic event. So a lot of people think they have to go to the war to experience PTSD. I was experiencing that PTSD before I even knew what it was. Um, I started to identify those things by me going to school for human services and reading upon those things. Then I began to learn people, personalities, and then I started identifying those are things that I was doing, and it's no longer serving me. And also me going into bringing that, because we bring those baggages, even though we don't even know it's baggage, we bring in that mess inside of the relationship. So me going through that experience and then not having a parent that's like a nurturer, you understand? Sometimes it allows you to stay in that state until you dig inside of yourself to say, okay, this is no longer serving me anymore. So what I mean by I brung that mess inside of my relationship was me growing out of high school, going to college. You know, when they say, oh, you're 18, you're grown, but your mind is still developing. And so it took me a little bit longer because of what happened at 3 and 4. My development stage at that time wasn't fully developed. So what took me, like take somebody else, it took me this time because I had to go back and learn reading, the fundamentals of reading. Because no matter what, if you don't get those readings, writing, spelling, math, the fundamental of the schools and stuff like that, the things that you learn, it plays a part of your it plays a big part of your confidence. So me getting out of high school, then I went to school for music. Then you figure out like, okay, I'm still bringing this environment inside of this environment. And then I had my daughter while I was in college. I had my daughter. You understand? So I'm still not figuring out what my mess was entirely. I was able to release some of those things because my faith and the principles that I was standing on was so strong for me not to quit on myself. But then I brought a life into this world. So all the things that I had going on, at that time, I believed that I had to forget about my dreams, forget about what I'm doing to raise this person because she did not decide to be here. I decided I wanted her to be here. So I wanted to make sure that she wasn't lacking anything. So then after that, me getting married. And then I still hadn't identified my mess. Then the thing that I saw it in my parents' relationship, it might not played out the exact same way in my relationship, but some of those bits and pieces was in my relationship with the verbal abuse, a little bit of physical abuse, emotionally, spiritual abuse. And remember, my mind at that time wasn't fully developed because I wasn't able to release those certain things that happened in my childhood. I released it enough to go to college to get it, but at that time I wasn't able to hold a lot of things down, because if you don't have those foundations in your life, just like you said, you have to release something in order to get something. So me being in this relationship that wasn't serving me, and I wanted to move forward while that person was trying to keep me stagnant. So that was one of the messes I was in. And then I got out that relationship. And for a year, I was doing everything. I got into another degree. You know, I thought, okay, I got everything ironed out. I released everything. I didn't know. I didn't release everything until it comes up and pop up as a trigger. Then I knew that, okay, I was doing well at managing those things, but I didn't know how at that time, how to release it. And sometimes when I was in church, I went from being Baptist to non-denomination. Yeah, they speak about being, you know, casting those things out, but they didn't talk about releasing those things. And not, you know, for me, I didn't know how to release those things. I didn't know about meditation. I didn't know about taking time out for myself. I didn't know about all of that. Then I got into another relationship, a marriage. Then we were doing good. But the thing is, we wasn't fighting. We wasn't cussing. We wasn't doing all that kind of stuff. Well, I wasn't. But it was the mental abuse, the silent. I had to go through the mental abuse silently, because even though I wasn't doing that, that person was doing that. And financial abuse. See, I didn't never have to experience that in my other relationship, but then in this relationship, I experienced it. So at the level when I met that person, we was perfect. We was aligned. We was equally yoked at that time. But the sooner I decided to step outside of that norm or that culture, because I married an African guy, you understand? And he was 10 years older than me. So me wanted to educate themselves, even though most of those African guys, not saying all of them, but most of them, their background, they value education and his mannerism. You understand? That's how I grew up. But me wanted to further my education, because he allowed me to go to school to get my bachelor's degree. He understood what I was trying to do, and he was okay with it. And he respected me and supported me. But when it came to, okay, I want to step out here and get work at my business, it wasn't that support. So it was a tug of war I had to go through. Then I had to realize to myself is, okay, I'm 5 years into this relationship. I accomplished this with this person. We got a house built. I don't want to be in a society, everything looks good because I check it out on paper. I want to internally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, I want to live out those things. That's who I am. I'm very honest. What you get from me is what you see. And that person, and unconscious, his tribe took over most of the things that he was supposed to do as a man in the house. It started off like that in the early beginning, but sometimes when you belong to a tribe, or you haven't come out of that mindset and you haven't truly developed as a man, it's so easy to get influenced by other people, because they think because what they're doing in their household, or what they're doing, what you're supposed to do. And we already knew the dynamics of our relationship. He was African, I was American. And we was totally okay with that, because he had told me, hey, be who you are, you don't have to change. But then when the influence by his friends start coming to the play, Then those dynamics that we had said we wanted, it was okay. It all started to change. And unfortunately, his friends' influence was way stronger than his commitment and his vows that he had made to his family. So I had to decide for Arshia, spontaneous queen, what is going to make me happy. Having a 4-bedroom house with a movie room, with a nice backyard, built to the ground up. I don't care about material things because I know how I can go earn those things if I want that. Or anything that I want, I can go get those things. For me, like I say, I'm a sucker for love, okay? I don't care about material things. I like them, but I don't have to have them to show off for my friends or anything. So he was in a type of community where instead of them living that life, they was and portraying, oh, I'm gonna do this, but they wasn't really living it like that. So at that time, I had to figure out this is a mess that I put myself in because I prayed for it. I did all this kind of stuff. We even did counseling before we got married. So I couldn't put all the blame on him. So after I sorted through my mess, and it took me a whole year, it was 2019, I asked God, if this person is for me, allow me to work it out and do everything that I need to do. But if it's not serving me any longer, give me the way and the things I need to do to get out of this. Because me coming to them as a wife, letting you know, hey, I don't like this and I don't like that, and they brushing it off, it's not a priority to them anymore. So now I got to choose what's best for me and my daughter. And because I know that I have a high tolerance for pain, I have a high tolerance, and not because I tried to have a high tolerance. I had to have that high tolerance because my childhood, what I endured. So me learning a little bit about my self-worth and what I deserve, I had to make the choice, a split decision. Okay, what do I want? Do I want to stay at a job that is not serving me? Or do I want to create a legacy for my daughter and I, and serving myself when it comes to the business? And even though entrepreneurship was scary to me, but I had that spirit is, if I have it in my mind, I'm going to do it and you're not going to stop me. And I had to make a decision where, you being my partner is not going to stop me. So it was a hard decision and it took me a year. But even though it took me a year to make that big decision, it was I was contemplating that decision the year after we got married. I didn't see any progress because I'm not too big on, okay, you got to be perfect. I allow people to have room to grow. But even though I was being patient and allowing that person room to grow, and I was teaching them, and they was, it was supposed to be an experience that we teaching each other, but that person didn't have grace for me. That person didn't allow me to have enough room for me to grow. So that decision and that mess, that helped me get out of my next decision. So when I got out of that decision and that mess, I didn't get into another relationship. After 2 years, I decided to focus on Arshia. And this time I put in the hard work. And that was focusing on me. Even though you might want to be in a relationship, even though you miss, because hey, when you're in a relationship for that long, you miss being in the room with that person. You miss being around that person. So it was a big adjustment for me financially. It was a big adjustment for me. It was a big adjustment for me being by myself. So in order for me to go to the next person or to the next level, I had to sort out my mess and organize it and put it into an order in order for me to move on to my next level in life, or if I'm going to have a healthy relationship. Because now I know what I deserve. Now I know my self-worth. Now I'm not going to pick somebody because of their potential. I'm not longer doing that anymore. It's not always about the money and the status for me. And of course, our status was good, over $100,000, including, with him and not even including mine. So that was a way big adjustment because when I met him, he wasn't making $100,000. He was making $8 an hour. So me for moving from that point to this point, and then I was in the healthcare field, professional field. So that was a big adjustment for me. But I'd rather look crazy on the outside, not chasing, but living in my authenticity and being happy on the inside truly, than being quiet and let somebody pull me in turmoil, allow somebody to say, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. No, I don't care if I have to live in a little small apartment or sell my stuff. That's the type of person I am. I don't care about those things. I care about my happiness, and I care about my daughter's happiness. And I noticed that my tolerance was really, really high. But at the time, I had to think about my daughter. And that's my intolerance for my daughter is a 0. When I start seeing her mentally and emotionally start getting affected, then everything goes out the window. So that's when it comes to my relationships and the mess and how I carried it, that was one of the biggest mess I had to get out of.
Thank you for sharing that. You mentioned that you had to release it. Now, for someone who may be going through maybe some of the same situations, what are some things that you may have done in order to release it? And this is kind of like the how to clean it up part of it. So you mentioned releasing it. You mentioned that you realized your self-worth. What are some things that you did in order to get to that point to clean up those messes?
So one of the things I did, because I know that I was involved in a lot of things, I cut those things out. I had to make myself sit down and focus on me. Some of the times when my daughter was visiting her family or something like that, I would just shut myself up in the apartment and put the meditation music on. Sometimes I would just pray, lay down on the floor and just pray. Or sometimes I would lay on my back on the couch and say, okay, I'm speaking to the younger Arshia. You don't have to be afraid anymore. I would say this to myself. You are safe. Now that you're in a safe place, you don't have to live in survival mode anymore. All those triggers that kept popping up, I start releasing those triggers. For me, once I started doing those things, slowly it started to come out of my life, and it didn't come back anymore. And also one thing that I have done is I remember that I had to forgive my mother. I wrote on a piece of paper all the things that she had done in my life, all the things that she had done to sabotage me. I had to write it on a piece of paper because I was at a mental state that I was mentally mature to talk to her about that. But she wasn't at that point that she wanted to talk to me about those things. So even though she wasn't at that point, I didn't allow her to intrude in my life. I put a healthy boundary up. So in order for you to release yourself, start putting up healthy boundaries to protect your space, to protect your garden, and don't allow anybody it don't matter who they are to you. Start protecting yourself. Another thing, after I wrote those things on a piece of paper, I said to myself, now I release it. I don't pick these things back up anymore. I release you. I forgive you. And then I allow those words and those vibrations, because sometimes the words, they carry vibrations. So I took apart the words what the person said to me or how they done or treated me. I detached it from that person. Once I started doing that, that was a big factor in my life as well. And it was a meditation that I use on YouTube. It's like a 8-hour meditation. And it depends on what you're dealing with. So sometime it was like a trigger that popped up that I thought I released. Or it can be something pertaining relationships. or anything that you were suffering with, I was asleep listening to those meditations. And when you wake up, it feel like if you could feel it coming out of your body. So that was a major part of what I have done. And I still do it to this day, because even though you feel like you release it, we have to release things every single day. Like I said, every day is a release a day. And don't allow somebody's atmosphere to intrude in yours. So once I had to learn about all of that, I had to go and look up self-worth, my value, what I deserve, how to speak up for myself, and not just sit quiet while somebody is doing things to me. I had to go back and learn all of those things over. So those are some of the things that help serve me when releasing. So it's up to you if you want to write down those things and burn it so nobody don't see it again. So then also you have to embrace it, because it was wrong into your life as an opportunity to get you to the next level. And don't look at those things as mistakes. So once I started coming to grips that all of this stuff served me, my ex-husband, he served me. We're friends to this day. And sometimes I have to say, okay, he's not my enemy. Once you can hear your own voice coming out your mouth and circling around, it's a vibration. Once you hear yourself say, that's not my enemy, you know, the things that he have done, he did it to the best of his ability at that time. And his actions is not a reflection of me being a wife. I can't control what he done and what he do and how he operate or how my mother operate. I can only control how I respond and how I allow those people to come in my life. So when I tell you, it took me, I'm going to say 3 weeks to face myself. Then once I did that, it became an everyday practice for me. And then when I sit down and I did that, it sped my life up it sped it up so fast. It sped it up because not only that you release those things, the words that you're saying and they're coming out of your reality is the words that you're living. And once I did that, the things that I seen, that I can see spiritually too, the things that I seen that they was trying to do, it can no longer affect me anymore. But now that I'm at a level spiritually, I can see through and see past those things. It also taught me how to maneuver around those type of people. And then also, even though I was in a community with people, I don't have to be in communion with them. It's my responsibility to encourage, to motivate while we in the community together. But it's not my job to pull you to your greatness. And when I learned how, because I'm a healer, even though I'm a healer, don't mean I'm going to automatically be assigned to you. Mm-hmm. And it's not my job or my duty to pull you out if you're not ready to be pulled out. And sometimes I might speak a word to somebody. I know that word is going to be customized to them and their experience. And it's going to be meant for them at that time. So that's why when you see me operate, it's not because I'm trying to be like distance myself or I like these people more than I like these people. Is I protect myself because I feel a lot of stuff. I see a lot of stuff. And I read the room before I even come in. I'm reading your energy. So me by me in connection with you, your energy can transfer to me, and I might not can shake that. So that's why I always protect my energy. And by me putting all that love and energy and everything that I was putting into those people and those relationships, I started putting it into myself. And when I said it sped me up so fast, and then that's how I was able to create spontaneous, even though I created that in 2019, but I'm able to live out those things and truly believe it by me, my actions and how I live. and my tribe and the people that attract to me, they believe it. And I don't have to convince people to believe it. So that's the type of life that I'm living.
Wow. I'm because you said so many things right there in that space. Um, you mentioned one thing that I know I'm going to remember. You said when someone triggers you, or the words trigger you, you detach those words from that person because that person isn't the one that is actually causing that trigger. It's situation from the past or something you may
Yes.
have heard from someone else. That's good. That one right there, I was like, ooh, doing that. Yeah. And then when you said that you can't control other people, you couldn't control him. He did the best that he could do at that time. You couldn't control your mother. She did the best or what she thought was the best at that time, but you can only control how you respond to what they do to you.
That's right.
That's great. That's great. Whew, that's the mental, that's the emotional, that's the social, and that is the status. And those ways that you use to help clean up your situation and clean up your mess, the meditation and the writing it down and burning it, those are some great ways. So if anybody's out there and you're going through any of those types of situations, I would say do some of those things. Those suggestions will help. Now, Arshia, is there a platform that people can follow you on, or because you say you're a healer also?
Yes,
So
I am.
what exactly do you do when it comes to that aspect of life?
So I don't have a specific name for it because I let the Holy Spirit guide me. So by me talking to you could be healing to you, or I can lay my hands on you without even touching you. I can hear you. By me having a conversation with that person, I can always pick up what they need, or God can tell me what they need. So the type of healing that I do could be emotionally, spiritually, and over the time we can create a plan to get you to your next level. So that's a part of the increasing your value and income level. In order for us to get to the income level, we have to get to through your foundation. So I'm teaching about self-work, the sabotaging behaviors. I'm teaching about the practices you can do or the techniques you can do in order to heal yourself. Because even though I'm giving you these things and I'm helping heal you, it's a teamwork. And sometimes it can just be a form of prayer. I am a licensed, certified licensed Christian counselor, or for people that I am a counselor. I welcome all religions. I'm a lot of things. Life coach. I do music. I'm into the speaking. I am an author. So, like I said, just come, just have a conversation, and I can always tell what you need by the conversation. I know that I have like different healing cards. It's not like a tarot reading because the information is coming through me. And it's like a visual. I can put the card up as like a visual. I also have those type of cards too. It depends on that person. You can always book me by texting me at 281-806-5366, 281-806-5366. And you can just simply text me heal or guidance or one-on-one, anything that resonates with you, just text me. So we can start on your journey to healing, or your journey to increasing your value. So I can remind you who you are, because you already know who you are. Sometimes we need people in place to, hey queen, hey king, this is who you are. This is how you show up to the world. to take off those labels that everybody put on you and you put on yourself, to remind you, hey, you're still that king inside. You just need to develop that area. So that's one of the ways that you can contact me. You can also contact me through my website, www.spontaneousqueen.com. If you read through it, it's a tab that say work with me. And that's the quickest way to get across to me, to book a one-on-one strategy session, so we can see, okay, what do I need? Do I need spiritual help? Do I need healing? Do I need help increasing my value? Do I need help with my career or being an entrepreneur? Because sometimes being an entrepreneur, you need help. It's being a springboard to somebody. You need help to know, hey, I'm not in it by myself. You need positive people to be in your corner, to be your accountability partner. So it's what the experience with what you make it. And I'm going to give you homework to challenge yourself. And we're going to go on your pace. It's not my pace. It's never about the money, Brittany. It's always about you getting to your next level with me. So again, I'm going to reiterate that. You can always reach out to me by texting me, or if you feel comfortable calling, you can call 281-806-5366. Text me. And if you hear different prompts like motivational speaking, I used to do fitness, dance fitness. But if you want to reach me #6. You're going to reach Spontaneous Queen, which is me.
Well, thank you so much, Spontaneous Queen. I thank you and appreciate you for taking your time out to come on and to share with the world what's your mess and how you cleaned it up. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. And again, everyone, I leave you with this. If you want to stay sad, live in the past. If you want to stay anxious and worried, live in the future. If you want to be happy, live in the present state of mind. Again, this is Tracy D. Armstrong, your motivational mentor. Have a great day.